You will travel to Havana and entertain our guests. Traveling from Key West, I was one of the few boarding the Havana-bound ferry without a vehicle. It was an odd campaign. Drive to Cuba, the poster said in bold letters with pictures of the ferry and smiling vacationers. The eager Americans in their shiny jeweled cars drove right off its deck and out onto the streets of Havana. I stood still, taking it all in, as others were rushing past. Havana was simultaneously a sparkling future and revered past, all connected by vibrant color and sound. The smell of food soon coaxed me to the square. Outdoor food markets displayed their meats, hanging from tented booths. Chickens ran free with an occasional stray dog in pursuit. I could hear drums from an outdoor group. I watched the street musicians while quickly downing my fish and beer. The liveliness reminded me of Harlem in a way. Thinking of New York briefly startled me. How quickly I was being pulled away by this new mistress, Havana. In the distance, I could see the Formosa Club, my home for the next few weeks. I wondered what it would be like to work for the mob, but I was more curious than fearful. I would later learn the naivety of those thoughts. With my bag over my shoulder, I walked in the heat toward the club. Ugh! I took off my hat and wiped my sweaty brow. The sun was intense on the hot pavement. Walking around the final corner approaching the Formosa's entrance, I saw her. The most beautiful woman, dressed in a bright orange dress and hat, wearing a shiny black belt, moved like a dance as she stepped out of the car. I stood still, staring, my breath caught in a silent gasp as I watched the dark-haired beauty disappear down the street. While not a large hotel, the Formosa was just as opulent as the other casinos and clubs scattered along Havana's beaches. I wiped my face once more before walking into the club. It was quiet and dark until a suited man with a wide smile appeared. I paused, watching him start to walk away. "The piano, Mr. Malone," I asked. "Mr. Wallace, you made it. We were expecting you." I was surprised. Victor Malone looked nothing like his father Monty, and was even friendly. But Victor's grasp on my hand was crushing. "Okay then," he said hurriedly. Malone stopped mid-step, realizing I already knew his name. He slowly turned back around and looked at me. In the corner, under the canvas, the piano. "Should be a good show, kid." He smirked as he looked me over before rushing toward the hotel doors, seemingly unbothered by my knowledge of him. Marta Malone entered the room like a whisper. In her bright orange dress and hat, her presence extinguishing almost all of Malone's imposing stature. As he pecked her cheek before disappearing out into the hot sun, Marta lit a cigarette before fixing her eyes on me. "You're the new pianist," Marta said casually. She pretended this was news, hiding her heart as she floated over to me. I swallowed and silently nodded. So taken by her beauty, I didn't notice the hot, dry fan above me. Its rhythmic clatter doesn't cool the midday heat in the least. I suddenly realized she was the same beauty I had just seen moments ago. You're Mr. Malone's wife?" She nodded, held out her gloved hand, and smiled a kind smile. I took her outstretched fingers in mine. "Nice to meet you, Mrs. Malone. I'm Hector Wallace." I was unaware at that time that Marta already knew me, so she continued her pretense. Turning toward the bar, she motioned to the barkeep, and he knew what to do without a word of instruction. Manny nodded and whisked about behind the bamboo bar until 2 glasses of iced tea appeared. "Thank you, Mrs. Malone," I nodded. The ice was already moving inside the glasses, melting quickly in the warmth of the room. The ticking clock seemed out of place, making me nervous. "You know, I should really get things set for tonight." "Do you know Mr. Gordon?" I asked. Marta nodded and took out a pen and small paper from her pocketbook, silently writing. The note simply read, "John Gordon, Bluebell Street, 14th corner." She returned the pen to her pocketbook and slid the paper across the table toward me. "But first, please, finish your tea, Mr. Wallace," Marta whispered. She smiled again, this time more formal, more beautiful. She surprised me, briefly moving her hand over my thigh. I looked at the young woman, still a bit shocked by her intoxicating scent, beauty, and mostly her touch. We sat silently, drinking our iced tea in the midday heat of the Formosa.